Hi everyone, it's curiousraven. I wanted to record and retell some demonic stories that I have been through. There is an older video, I think it might have been my first video actually, way back when, but I wanted to retell you what happened to me. When I started dating my ex, that actually happened to be very abusive mentally and physically to me. I think he had something attached to him that was evil, because it was bothering me. I grew up in Alabama, and when I started dating him in Alabama, I would hear these weird things outside as I was going to sleep. It literally sounded like someone was running through the yard. It was kind of like a fall time where there was a lot of leaves on the ground, and it was like crunch, 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 like someone was walking, and I could just sense the evil just penetrating through my house. And I ran into my mom's room, and I'm like, Mom, something is going on. I feel something very evil that's walking around outside of our house. And my mom and myself have always been very spiritual and very in tune to the other side. All these stories that I read and I talk about with y'all, that when my kids tell me stuff that they have experienced, I try my best not to I always tell them, pray. It's just a ghost walking through the house, because ghosts come and go. And my mother believes me, and I try my best to believe my children as well. So that's one demonic issue I had that I experienced, and it was the first one, and it freaked me out, because when it happened, I was laying down and I could not move. I could move my eyeballs, I could hear, I could sense, but I could not move my arms, my legs. I couldn't even yell. I couldn't scream. I couldn't nothing. So what I did was I prayed. I told whatever it was to go away, that God was in this house and they were not welcome. And I prayed and said that over and over again. And I felt like I needed, this is going to sound so weird, y'all, and you're probably going to laugh at me. I'm very nerdy, but I felt like Bella Swan. You know how she has those powers where she has to imagine like a force field around her to keep whatever is bad out? I don't know what it was, but something told me to do that. And I just thought to myself and this was before I knew anything about positive light or energy or how to protect myself as a psychic and all of that stuff. So it was just odd. I felt like my spirit guide was telling me to do that before I even knew about spirit guides, like it was just really weird. And it worked. And that's when I ran in and told my mom what happened, and she kind of freaked out, and she's like, now I can't sleep. And I'm like, I'm sorry. But all this started happening when I started dating this one person. Sometimes you can meet people and you just sense that there's something off about them, and they're not a good person deep down inside. But I was so blinded by love and all this crazy stuff that I didn't want to accept it. My mother saw it, but I just ignored it, and I should have not. But anywho, so the second thing that happened was in my same bedroom. I had headphones on, laying on my bed, listening to music, and I was starting to fall asleep for some weird reason. I scratched myself on my face with my nails, because I have natural long nails. And for some reason, you know how when you lay down and you kind of like prop your head up with your hand? That's what I was doing. But as I was kind of like dozing off, I like really felt like something made me scratch myself. I could feel the negative energy. And I had a big long scratch on my face for a while. And it drew blood. It was just really, really odd feeling I've never experienced before. The third thing that happened was when we moved to Orlando, Florida. I was with the same man, and we had our own apartment. And by that time, I had a son, not his child, but from a different ex-marriage that I was actually married. It was when I was going through the divorce and I had to stay with my mom. That's what it was. And I was a little bit older, like in my 20s. Now I remember. Sorry. I want to make that clear. We were living in Florida, and I was with the same man, and my son was probably about maybe 2-3 years old, not even. Well, me and him, It was a really early morning. No one was awake. And I woke up, but I couldn't move. But when I looked up to the ceiling, there was someone just leaning over looking at me, all in black. It was like they were floating up above me like a balloon. And their hair was longer and it was black. And since they were floating there, their hair was kind of like hanging down to a point. So their face was kind of covered, but I knew they were looking at me. And it was just so much negative energy. I felt like I was drowning and I couldn't do anything. And all of a sudden, something kept telling me to touch them. Yes, you want to touch them. So I couldn't speak or nothing, scream nothing. And it was like they were eating off of like my vulnerability at that moment. And I actually started reaching my right hand up to them. Something kept telling me, yes, yes, touch me, yes, grab me. And I literally was about to grab the tip of their hair and pull them down to me. Y'all, I can't even. Some evil things floating above me and I'm reaching up to grab them to bring them towards my body. And I know it wasn't me. I know it was whatever that was controlling me. But then I just stopped. And I thought, what the fuck am I doing? What am I doing? And I let go and I started to pray to God. And I prayed to God and I prayed to God. And then I could sort of move a little bit. And the thing that was above me was gone. But then all of a sudden my son ran into the room with scratches all down the front of his body. And I was freaking out. And he looked at me and then ran back into his bedroom. So I jumped up and ran into his room, y'all. And he was still in bed asleep. I checked him to see if he had any scratches down his chest. Nothing. He was sleeping like a baby. Just fine. Freaked me the fuck out. Okay? I got back into bed and tried to shake my boyfriend awake. But when he rolled over and looked at me, straight evil. He was laughing like a demon look in his face. And I just started boo-hooing and screaming and crying. And I looked back at him and he was just asleep. He wasn't awake. The first time he woke up was when he heard me in agonizing, fearful cries out to God, begging him to protect my family and to whatever this is needs to leave. And he actually woke up. And, you know, I'm very spiritual, but he was very Catholic. So he knew that something was going on. So he got one of his rosaries and he came up behind me and he hugged me. And I was like rocking back and forth because I was just like in a whole nother world. Because it was the most scariest fucking thing I have ever witnessed, ever been in. I just felt like it was like a loop. Like I kept waking up and kept waking up in a dream and kept waking up into the dream and I couldn't wake up. So I just sat at the end of the bed thinking, am I still asleep? Am I awake? I didn't know what was reality and what wasn't. And it was a really horrible experience. But God got me through it. And I was shook for weeks afterwards. I didn't even want to tell anybody about it. I didn't even want to talk about it. Because I feel like the more you talk about things or negative things, you can bring it to you. And you don't need to do that. You need to think positive energy, positive light. Finally got away from him. And I'm with my husband now, with a very good man, good husband, good father. And he is just full of light and love. He might not believe everything I see or believe in or do, but he supports me no matter what. And I'm just really blessed to have him. One other thing that happened to me before any of this was when I was with my first husband. I was inside of my house and I couldn't sleep. And he was at work because he worked like night shifts or whatever. And I heard someone outside calling my name. And I'm not going to tell you my real name. I'm just going to make one up. But I heard someone outside like going, Megan. It sounded really far away. And I'm like, there's no one else here. Who is that? And I thought maybe it was like a friend that came by and I didn't hear the door or something. So they're like calling my name to kind of like come out and say, hey, what's up? But I heard it again, closer. Megan. But I looked outside, y'all, and there was nothing there. Nothing. I said, oh, hell no. So I just ignored it and went along my business. It was scary. But that was it, really, the demonic things that I have experienced. And now that I am older and I kind of understand more of that I am a little gifted, that I do see ghosts and sometimes I hear them and I try to communicate. I wished that I knew someone that would help me invalidate that what I'm seeing is what I'm seeing and hearing, But, sometimes it's really hard because you're like, well, is this just my mind thinking this? Or is there someone really here trying to communicate with me? But those are the stories. I had just got done with a video for y'all, and it was about sleep paralysis. And I just wanted to, tell y'all my experiences with sleep paralysis. And I really do believe that it is when your body is under attack and something is trying to possess you, when you're in your most vulnerable state, when your soul is just chilling and sleeping and unaware about what's going on around them. That's what I believe. For a while after the last demon that tried to attack me or whatever, I know it sounds kind of weird, but I would say, now I lay me down to sleep. I pray the Lord my soul to keep. Amen. Right before bed for months. Also, there is, different cultures, they do different things. I wear a lot of jewelry and crystals and stuff to help me with protecting my light that I do carry with me. Also, in every bedroom, in every bed that I have, I tie a red ribbon around the frame into a bow. And I have been told by many that this is to help protect yourself from bad entities or mischievous entities being able to enter the field around your bed, it kind of helps ward them off, I guess. I don't know. Like the evil eye. When you wear something that has an evil eye on it and it breaks, that means that you had a spiritual attack and it protected you. And you need to get yourself another jewelry or whatever with an evil eye on it to keep protecting you. And the same with the ribbon. That's how I perceive it, that I have found where my son's ribbons on their bed have been pulled, not completely taken off, but pulled. And I would have to go back and tie them in a bow again and say a little prayer. Those are just little things you can do around your house to help. Also sage. I have been taught by a friend that is a psychic medium to take chalk and you make a cross above every single window and every single door frame in your house. And you can also take salt and toss it in every corner of your home, but over your shoulder. Also, I take salt and I put a line in front of my door, front door and back door, and it just helps. I really do believe that it helps. There's negative energies everywhere. So if you have any questions, I'm not a professional at all whatsoever. I can just give you little suggestions that works for me, that might work for you. So if you ever want to talk or have questions about spirits and the paranormal and everything, just let me know. I am always watching paranormal stuff. I'm always trying to learn more. I'm just very thankful for all of you for being here. We almost have 900 subscribers. We only have like 100 and something to go, and I'm just so excited to hit 1,000, and then we can do a live stream. And I love y'all very much. I just wanted to come and chat and chill and say hello and see how everyone was doing. Please stay safe. Until next time, remember, it's scary out there.
redemption. Honesty is the one